Suddenly, a video appears that leaves you speechless. Your heart skips a beat. The title, J-Hope's last concert with Jungkook and Jin, full FANCAM BTS FESTA 2025. And when you click, you know this isn't just a concert. It's a historic moment. It's the final chapter of an era, before they all return to the real world. Because for us, the ARMY, it's not just about the concert. It's about farewell, about brotherhood, about a stage that became the last place J-Hope danced with Jungkook and Jin before he returned to being Jong Hoseok, a South Korean soldier. And today we're going to break it all down. For those of you who don't know, Hope on the Stage Final is a special event that serves as a farewell concert for J-Hope before he officially completes his military service. What makes this extraordinary is, it's not just an ordinary concert, but a concert reimagined and integrated into the FESTA 2025 vibe, the live, emotional celebration of BTS's 12th anniversary. And what makes it even more special? Jungkook and Jin are on stage, not as main stars, but as brothers, symbolically giving Hope their final embrace. Why is this important? Because typically, at farewell concerts, only the departing members perform. But this time, we saw 3 generations of BTS dynamics, Jin as the eldest Hyung, J-Hope as the middle pillar, and Jungkook as the maknae. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a symbolic statement. Check out the fan cam. At the beginning, J-Hope entered in a simple outfit, a black Nike jacket, a dark tank top, and a hat reading, "Make Tokyo Great Again." But it's precisely in that simplicity that you can see the most honest side of him. He didn't come to put on a grand performance. He came to say goodbye sincerely. The look in his eyes when he first saw the audience? You can see it clearly, eyes that are usually full of charisma and smiles, now calmer, more serene, and occasionally almost tearful. But J-Hope is still J-Hope. He dances, he raps, he smiles, he says, "Don't cry, I'm just leaving for a while, but your hopes will still shine." It's a simple sentence, but its impact hit hard. During the concert, when the song Blue Side played, the camera zoomed in on one figure, Jungkook. He stood beside the stage, wearing a black t-shirt, without much flair, but his expression? Deep. Do you know? In stage psychology theory, moments like this are called visual empathy sync, where the audience feels emotionally connected through gestures and gazes, not words. And Jungkook knows exactly how to play that. He didn't say much, but he hugged J-Hope from behind. And when they hugged, it wasn't fan service. It was a farewell hug between brothers. It was a hug that said, "Take care of yourself, Hyung." Another thing that made this concert even more emotional was Jin's presence. After just completing his military service, Jin didn't appear as a soldier newly released from duty, but as an older brother coming to pick up his younger sibling. He walked onto the stage, hugged J-Hope, and they laughed together. But you could tell it wasn't a joyful laugh. It was a bitter laugh. In Korean fan culture, this is called Museum, a laugh that comes out when someone is holding back tears. And in that moment, Jin truly represented the millions of ARMY fans who felt a sense of loss, but also pride. Because one leaves, but another returns. The cycle continues. And BTS, once again, proved that they're not just a music group, but a family. And as the stage lights began to dim, the atmosphere seemed to slow down. Everything felt quiet, even though thousands of fans were still cheering. But everyone in the stadium knew this wasn't about the last song. It was about the memories being captured. Jungkook was still standing at the side of the stage, looking at J-Hope with a deep gaze, as if to say, "Hyung, I'll continue what you started." Meanwhile, Jin, who had just returned from military service and wasn't fully accustomed to the stage yet, patted J-Hope on the shoulder and whispered something that wasn't caught on camera, but was evident in the look in their eyes, full of meaning, full of understanding that didn't need long words. J-Hope, who that night seemed like the most honest version of himself, slowly let go of the microphone. His hands trembled slightly, not out of nervousness, but because he was aware that this was a turning point. Behind his hat, his expression remained calm, but his breathing was slightly heavy. The audience might not have noticed, but for a performer like him, leaving the stage was not just about stepping down. It was like leaving a part of himself behind. A part that had been living among the music, the lights, and the energy of the army. On the big screen, a compilation of J-Hope's moments with the BTS members was shown. From old rehearsals, small laughs backstage, to video clips from the early years of their career. All of it played without sound, accompanied only by a very soft instrumental song, almost like a whisper. That's when many fans began to cry. Not hysterical tears, but tears that came from the deepest part of the heart. Tears that only emerge when someone truly understands the meaning of loss in its most beautiful form. And perhaps that's why this concert left such a lasting impression. Because we weren't just witnessing a performance, but a farewell. A farewell that wasn't dramatic or theatrical, but very real and human. Jungkook, who had always been known as the cheerful and energetic magne, was unusually quiet that night. Several times, the camera caught him biting his lip, trying to hold back his emotions. But finally, when J-Hope sang the last part of Blue Side, Jungkook couldn't hold back anymore. He quickly walked onto the stage and hugged his Hyung without saying a word. And in that moment, everything felt like it had stopped. Time, sound, even breath. Fans around the world watching via streaming or fan cams felt the same thing. A deep silence, but also an incredible warmth. Because behind the tears, there was gratitude. Gratitude that we once had them. That we once witnessed the magic on stage. Because we know, no matter how long they're gone, they'll come back. And as long as they look out for each other, as long as we're still here waiting, this story will never end. After that embrace, J-Hope took a deep breath. He looked at the camera and said, "If you feel lost, remember, hope isn't me. Hope is in all of you." Those words were like the final key to this concert. Not a farewell, but a kind of message. That the spirit of BTS doesn't depend on who's on stage, but on who keeps believing even when the stage is empty. Once the concert ended and the lights finally went out, there were a few seconds that felt incredibly long. As if time refused to move. But then, from behind the stage, a faint voice could be heard, like a recording being played back. It was the voice of the seven of them from their debut days, introducing themselves with enthusiasm. Bangtan's Sonyeondan imida. And everyone began to cry again. Because there, we were reminded, no matter how much time passes, no matter how much changes, BTS will always live on in memories, in music, and in the hearts of everyone who has ever called themselves ARMY. J-Hope may have stepped off the stage that night, but his spirit, his smile, and all the memories he left behind will continue to stand on that stage, in the hearts of every audience member who ever watched Hope on the stage with tearful eyes. And who knows, maybe one day, that stage will shine again, with all of them standing together once more, as they did before, as they do now, as they will forever. Because this isn't the end. It's just a pause. And as long as we believe, BTS never really leaves.